A little out of rhythm today. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon,
That's what
everybody.
they said. Oh my gosh, the river. Never mind. It's gonna get you. It's
See,
gotten some
everyone's
of
out
us, you
of rhythm
guys.
today. Take it away, Sarah. It's all yours,
Thank
I
you,
think.
Amy. Happy Wednesday, you guys. Very well played, Matt. We are excited to bring y'all our first meeting in March. Officially, last week was Family Reunion. The Family Reunion Recap Panel is one of my favorite things that happens all year long. Not because you hear from me, because I know that gets real tired real fast, but because you get to hear from each other and what everyone took away from the sessions, the experience, etc. We're so sorry to have moved to Zoom for this one, but there's a whole lot of funk and flu, and I don't know what else went on from Vegas coming back. So, for the sake of not bringing people in to breathe all over y'all, we decided to move to this version and be thankful that we can. So I will get us started off and then we'll get to our panel. And if you have questions, be ready to ask them. If you have things you're wanting to know, like drop in the chat. Let's have a great session together. We'll start off with welcoming Billy Joe this week. Billy joined us at Team Keller Williams San Diego. Welcome, Billy Joe. And does anybody else want to share a bucket fill to start us off and welcome us into March?
I got
Something
one.
great. Yeah, go Matt.
Yeah, Sherry Peters. You definitely won't hear it from Sherry. She's the most humble, loving, lovely person. She's out there crushing it, people. She's going the extra mile for her people. She really dives deep and really gets all the information for and behind the scenes on the property that her people are buying. And she's really out there crushing it. And like I said, you wouldn't hear it from her. It's never about the dollar signs. It's always about how she could help. And I'm just glad and very proud to be a part of it. So yeah, Sherry, keep up the good work. It's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Matt. And Sherry, congratulations. We know you're off to a rocking start this year, and we love that for both of y'all. Anybody else before I move on? I don't want to skip over anybody since I can't see all the hands and faces all at the same time. You have your screen share happening. You know that, right?
I do.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's get on. We have a bunch of training and events coming up, and it's something with me. It's super weird to look at the screen with my face and the slide at the same time, but
No,
I'm going to do
it's
my best
Sarah.
to
It's
ignore it.
because I have people in here, so I'm trying to like set it up to where they can see you all and the slides at the same time. So
It's perfect. It's amazing. We'll pull them down in a second because we're going to go to training and events. So we have 75 Thrive that's been going on. Tomorrow is our next session of that. And we have endless referrals with Cassia. So if you want to do client events and understand what it looks like, that's going to be something you want to participate in. Evie, any notes on that one?
on Cassia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have them streaming again as usual. Emily will be here on site to do masterminds afterwards for those that want to watch the live stream with a group of people here in the office. I will be here getting that set up for everybody that wants to come in and watch it with Emily and masterminds afterwards.
And that's at 11 a.m. tomorrow. They do start right at 11, so don't show up at 11. You'll miss the beginning. You want to come in a few minutes early. And then in the afternoon, we have Miss Judy's open house clinic at 1 p.m.
Miss Judy,
And
did you
that's
want
the
to
first
do a
floor and
quick
the third floor.
pitch?
Yeah, I would like to say a few words. So
Go
those
for it.
of you, we've been talking about family reunion, and it was said in family reunion, I heard loud and clear, open houses are back. And, and they said also real estate is a relationship business. And there's no better way to find and establish new real estate relationships than in an open house. And how would you like to skyrocket your conversion results at open houses? So tomorrow, Thursday, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, meet me here in the third floor training room, and we'll go through everything you need to hold a winning open house and capture every unattached prospect. We will focus on nonverbal communication techniques mindset, and procedures with role play and discussion. And then you will see an actual client conversion happening right in front of your eyes. And if you are a new agent, this class is a must do. And if you find you just want to improve your conversion rate and learn some new skills, don't miss it. Let's do it, okay? Tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Awesome. That is absolutely true. Was a big takeaway was open houses are rampant and successful and bringing people in off the streets where they had waned a little bit in popularity in the reporting, right? Obviously, we know what we experienced in our life, but in the reporting that Gary shared from the big stage. And those slides will all be coming up in a future session. We can't possibly do it all in one day, but we will bring those information bits back to you. Okay, and then next week we have Broke Bob, risk management session on our Wednesday meeting. That's this team meeting on Wednesday. Will be on Zoom with BB doing broker, risk management, and all the magic there. He's got the buyer and seller transparency post the Burnett Sitzer case. There is something that I emailed out to everybody. It came from the family reunion stage. Gary Keller himself, along with Jason Abrams and Jay Papasan, are teaching. It's called Value Squared. If you got that email from me, it is not spam. There's a video of Jason talking about what the course is. The first one is tomorrow. There's like 4 different dates you could choose from right now. It's online. Y'all, it's being taught by Gary and Jason and Jay. So that one, if tomorrow doesn't make sense because you have other things happening, choose one of the other ones. There's many. I sat through the mini session of it in Vegas. This is longer. It's coming like live from Gary's office, and it's going through what do you need to be doing in your business direct from the horse's mouth, right? For the buyer value and the seller value, and how you represent yourself, how you present yourself, how you are fiduciary to your client. I walked through it with Jay Papasan. It was amazing. Okay. So I dropped the link on our Facebook. You got an email directly from me explaining a little bit more about it. If you're in Connect, you're going to see it there. Do not sit on that. That is going to change the way you do your business in a positive way and help you streamline your statements with your clients on both the buyer and seller side of the fence. And then next week, Thursday the 14th, we have Rachel Adams Lee. Rachel is a lady leader. Rachel's a top team. She's in the top 1,000 nationally. She's been in all the top groups and things. Ashley could speak about her for days, I'm sure. She teaches an amazing marketing, motivation, social media, social selling class. You do not have to buy anything to go to this session. Of course, she has coaching and other things you can opt into, but she does these out of the goodness of her heart. It's how she gives back. So if this fits in your session for next week, it's 9 to 11. And these are a lot. And I want you to remember, we said we're going to do less to do more. Go to the ones that are relevant for you, please. Do not go to all of the sessions. Go to the ones that you're like, yep, that one makes sense for me. I need to do that. Okay, questions, comments, concerns. Evie, anything I missed in the upcoming events?
No, and we're working on getting, because I think that day also, Sarah, we have the 75 Thrive happening. So Rachel in the morning from 9 to 11, and then we have the 75 Thrive right at 11. So we're working on getting some snacks from our sponsors too. So if people are coming to watch them here in the office, you got some little treats there. So
some deliciousness, perfection. All right, y'all. So let's move on. Matt, I see your face front and center. You want to give us a Movement Mortgage update?
Yeah, the face for radio. Yeah, so California Dream for All. We're able to start underwriting as of tomorrow as a company. And the registration portal is open from April 3rd to April 29th. So you got about 26 days to really get those applications to CalHAFA. And then they'll do the lottery and kind of go from there. So we need everybody kind of set up this month for success if they're looking to take advantage of the CalHAFA shared appreciation program. Also, I was talking with an agent in the office and they let me know, they're starting to ramp up. Business is really getting busy and they haven't had time to really follow up with a lot of their open house leads, whether or not these leads are good leads, bad leads, or somewhere in between. They just haven't had enough time to catch up with them. That's what Eddie and I do all day long. We call people, we try to get a hold of them, and we will represent you. This is Matt from Team Evie Jack at Keller Williams. We're here to follow up on the home that you looked at 1234 Main Street on Saturday. What do you think? Just to start a conversation off for you guys. So if that's something that is interesting or sounds interesting for you guys, we live for it. So let us know. We're here to help you out. If there's contexts that you just can't get a hold of, and you're looking to reach out and you just don't have the time, you can't get a hold of them for one reason, shape, or form, let us know. We'll reach out on your behalf for you. We're always here, open house stuff, printing, trying to get a hold of you and help you out on the weekends. We're here for that too. So let us know. We're always around. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. If anyone is saying they have too many open house leads and they don't have time to do their job, please raise your hand and ask for help, because I'm going to challenge your calendar on what you do and don't have time for. And for sure, use the leverage Matt just offered. Let your lender partners reach out on your behalf and look to help qualify, quantify, validate, whatever word makes you feel comfortable with them. Have a conversation and give them the resources they need to grow. Otherwise, someone else is doing it while you're too busy. Okay, Jacqueline, Escrow Partners update. Can you talk, Jacqueline?
I can. My voice is back today.
Okay.
We are very excited. We officially opened up escrow with Kevin on his new escrow. So congratulations, Kevin. We are so excited to be in business with you, and we are looking forward to a smooth escrow. The QR code in the bottom right is, I've been having some really great conversations with a lot of you that didn't even realize that we had all of these services on that main floor. So of our office, you can literally walk across the hall and Nicole is in there running escrows. So if you want to save the information to your phone, go ahead and scan that QR code. That's going to take you to a link tree. And the first option in there is to save contact card. So that will take you to our information. And if for any reason you need something or just have a quick question that you want to ask me, when I'm done talking, I will drop my escrow partners email in the chat, so you can always reach out to me. And I would be remiss if I missed this opportunity to wish Kareen congratulations. She is closing escrow with us today at Escrow Partners. So congratulations, Kareen, you're a rock star.
Awesome. Thank you, Jacqueline. Congratulations to Kevin and Kareen and to everyone else who's closing business this week. I saw a lot of units ticking up this week, and I know that's fun for everybody to be doing more business and making more money. All right, Alicia, you want to give us our coaching spotlight, my dear?
Okay, she's coming right here, right next to me.
Okay.
Hi. Okay, hold on. Do we have slides?
Yeah, that's one.
Okay, let's do some slides. Oh, Sam and Yanni are actually in the room too.
Woo, woo.
So they just opened escrow with a buyer for an off-market property, and they negotiated a higher commission that was originally offered, and they are in growth with me. Erica closed her first escrow, which was her own listing, and she had the listing signed, tenants relocated and in their new rental, and the property was closed all within 30 days. She's in launch with me. Tanu opened another escrow with a buyer. She's also in launch. And Lexi got another BRBC signed. She's also in launch. And Kathy got another BRBC signed as well. She is also in launch. And Coach Deborah Gaga got another BRBC signed. She's in growth. And Eric Robinson took another new land listing. He's also in growth with Deborah. And if anybody needs any land, talk to Eric. He's amazing at it. Thanks, guys.
That is amazing. There's a lot of comments in the chat. Emily said it best, and since she's very pregnant and we're celebrating her, I think her saying that is some awesome shit. I'll take her pregnant lady KW Care slide through on the language, because you guys, that is awesome. Like, you are, let that not be looked lightly upon. There's a lot of great movement and growth coming from our newer agents, our middle agents, our experienced agents. Congratulations to everybody. Super proud. And reach out and make those connections. Come to the sessions, talk to your coach, keep learning and growing. That's how we keep doing more together. Okay. Anyone have a listing to pitch, a property to share before we go on? BB wants to pitch. Go ahead, BB.
I don't want to miss my broker spotlight. I
Okay.
really want to make sure next week that everybody can be at the risk management meeting. It's going to be reviewing what you should be doing in your buyer and seller consultations. And of course, there's a form for everything, because the whole thing about what's going on now is transparency about commissions. So you'll need to understand how to use the BRBC and all the supporting documents going forward. Those will be really important for you to learn. And then the discussions you should have with sellers in your listing presentation. So please, please, please show up next week. I promise it's not going to be so boring, but it's really, and also the class that Sarah sent out that Gary's going to be live streaming, register for that as well, because you've got to understand now how to articulate your value and why you're worth all the money you are worth, which you are worth a lot more. Okay, that's it.
That's awesome. And that makes more sense as to what you wanted to pitch. I'm sorry I skipped broker update. Yeah, you guys, it's coming straight from his horse's mouth, right? Gary Keller himself is in the room teaching these sessions. Sign up for the dang thing and understand how to articulate your value on both sides. Please and thank you. It will save your butt from all the future things. Well, not all of them. We don't have magical powers, but many of the future problems you could be facing. Stephanie, I see your hand up.
Hi, do you mind if I pitch a property that is a listing that we've had, but we
Go.
really don't? Okay, so we have a piece of land. It's up by Kate Sessions. It has views. It's in this little pocket.
Make
where
it exciting.
Okay, well, it's the property, it's a lot. There's no house on it now, but it comes with plans that have already gone through the city. They just need to, their permits need to be the permits have expired. But every house in this area, if you've seen the $7 million Oppenheim house that just closed, that's in this little pocket. Every house is brand new. You're not looking across the street at a dump that was built in the 70s that hasn't been renovated. You have all new homes. It's ready to step in. It's ready to build. I just need my buyer. The land is listed for 2.395. I know that we can get my sellers they want to sell. They don't want, we haven't gotten an offer to get us there yet, but I need to sell it before my listing expires. So if anybody has someone who wants to buy or develop, send them on over.
Awesome. And Emily has a question in the chat, 2.5 with plans included, correct? So Steph, engage in the chat as it comes. I love that. And I'm only, I said make it exciting because you're like, come buy my property, please. Not like, hey, I have this property, you should buy it, right? All right, y'all, it's a safe space. We can help each other grow. And on my panel today for Family Reunion Recap, Evie, are we going to pin boxes? How are we going to do it? I have Vinny, Nikki, Stephanie, don't go anywhere. Sam and Yanni are in the room, Spade and Gaga.
I think I can pin everyone.
So if you pin them so I can see who's on Zoom and then versus who's in the room, I want to make it as palatable for all to dive in and explore. And as you're getting that done, I want to start with Stephanie. Steph, are you okay? I want to start with, I know I have, what I love about this group is we have some people who've been many, many times and some people who this is their first time going and are newer, right? And I want y'all to be able to hear from both sides of the pond on that. And I have a couple simple questions, nothing wild, nobody be nervous. But Stephanie, tell me, did you have a plan going in?
I did and I didn't. I went to the Zoom before the know before you go, and I heard all the stuff and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to hang out with people that I knew. That wasn't why I was going. So I did know, but on the airplane and on the way and the day of, I was still putting together my breakout sessions that I wanted to do.
Okay, so you knew you weren't going to spend time with everyone from the market center and you were reviewing, you did the know before you go and you were reviewing the breakouts, but you didn't really have a plan. And what you told me in the other group was that you had been to Mega Camp, so you thought you had an idea, but Family Reunion was very different. Okay, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Nikki, I see your face right in the top. Did you have a plan before you went? Plan going into family reunion?
Is that a real question?
Yep.
Yes, I had a pretty elaborate spreadsheet with everybody I wanted to meet and all the other concurrent conferences that were happening at the same time of family reunion.
Okay. So what I want you guys to hear is that, Nikki, how many family reunions have you been to?
This was my 10th one.
Okay. So Nikki's 10th, Stephanie's first, and nobody's right or wrong. We learn and grow, right? So Stephanie knew a little. Nikki had spreadsheets and plans, and since she's in commercial, and maybe she would have done it if she was just residential, she also knew what other conferences were in town that she could attend. That was fun because I ran into her after she attended one of the other conferences the one day. Okay, let me see. I don't see the pins. Chris Spade, are you there?
Yes.
Did you have a plan before you went in?
I had a bit of a plan, but I mean, for me, it was a little different. I've probably been like 13 times, maybe 13, I think. So whereas, the first time I went, I tried to go to everything. This time I went, I focused on exactly what was useful for my business, and then I went to some extra DEI stuff. So no, I just focused on what was good for my business, not everything.
Okay. So, okay, that's how it'll make sense. It makes me uncomfortable, and if it doesn't make anyone else seasick, I'll tolerate it. You guys skip the feedback
Sarah,
on that.
Can you see the pin? I had to share the pin screen. I have to pin it on my end for me to see everybody talking. I think you have to do it on your side for you to see the pin. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think let's just take it down because
Okay.
then it's like feedbacky and bumpy, and I want it to be as smooth as possible for everybody,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, I'm going to ask you all, I won't go through with everybody. I wanted anyone who's listening to hear, some people have a plan going in and some people don't really have a plan going in, and everyone's plan is going to be a little bit different based on what you do and how you work your business, right? So when you go back to future events, the more you can plan ahead and learn from everyone else's experience, the better experience you'll have based on what your outcomes you're looking for are, right? Some people go in just to network and experience things live. Some people go in to make money. So Vinny, tell me what your key takeaways were. You're on mute.
That probably helped.
Yeah.
From the breakouts, I honestly didn't really get any great nuggets this year, which is kind of surprising. The biggest thing I got was the Tony Robbins thing. That was actually the biggest thing why I kind of wanted to go to the family reunion this year.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was giving perspective. I think when he spoke, he was giving perspective on the market, perspective on communication and how we kind of talk, things like that.
Yep, I agree. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. It could be an in-person conversation on Zoom, right? So the takeaways of Tony and the perspective on the market, do you mean the historical perspective he shared, the seasons? Can you be more specific?
Yeah, he went by decade. So from, I think he started 1900, 1910 or something like that. But yeah, he was just kind of talking about the ebbs and flows, kind of giving perspective on, well, the market was going to crash then, and then it kind of picked back up, it went back up, and then this generation thought the world was going to fall. Then the next generation, everything's gravy kind of thing. And like, it was kind of going back and forth on it to give just kind of a historical perspective on what we're looking at kind of in a microcosm.
And what was your biggest takeaway from that or action item you would use in your business from that experience?
I think it's just perspective. I mean, I think the bigger thing I can use probably in my business is his story with Gorbachev and Reagan, right? That was one that I've probably said about 4 times to different people in the last like week or so. But if something's not going right or it's not working out, slightly change what you're doing. right? If your calling is not going well, call from standing up. If your calling is not going well, call from sitting on the ground. If your calling is not going well, do whatever it is, right? Just so the small, like those small drastic changes, I guess. Yeah.
And that, for anybody who wasn't there, the Gorbachev and Reagan story, what was the tidbit or the sentence that made that the driving home point for you, for everybody who doesn't know what the heck you're talking about?
So I'll just tell the Gorbachev side. So Tony Robbins, long story short, he was asking Gorbachev when communists or communism fell, and he said a boilerplate kind of statement, and he goes, no, when was the exact moment? And then from there, he basically says, okay, there was a moment that me and Reagan were yelling at each other. And Reagan just basically goes, this is not working. He takes 2 steps away, and then he turns around with a big old smile on his face. Let's start over. My name's Reagan, right? And just made a kind of a comedic moment of it to allow them to kind of bring it back to a different kind of place that they were in. So yeah.
Well, thank you for reminding me of that piece, because whether it's flu brain or whatever brain, I had forgotten about that moment. That's so impactful. And then Tony's common theme was change your state, right? You can change your state to change your results. And that's because then he got up, and what did they do next?
I think we jumped a lot and we yelled a lot. My voice was really rough, but
yeah,
I'm not sure what happened after that.
No,
we
but in
jumped
the
and yelled.
story, they got up and they
went
walked.
outside.
Oh, no, that was Reagan's part. That when he asked Reagan when the communism fell, Reagan basically told that story.
Yeah. So
they told 2 different things, but they each changed a way of looking, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah. It's really meaningful, and that's why I think, everyone's gonna have the same thing. What's your takeaway, right? Like, what resonated the most with you? Whether it's a breakout, a hallway conversation, a main stage, it doesn't matter. There's no rules around what your takeaway is. And then the most important thing to come into it is, what's your action item from it, right? Otherwise, we're just experiencing great things and not changing our businesses or ourselves. We're just, living a fun life, which is also nice. When we can articulate how we turn it into making more money and getting an ROI on our expenses, that's when we start to have, more meaningful change attached to it. So thanks for that, Vinny. Let's go to Chris. Give me what was your key takeaway? Mute. There you go.
So I'm going to kind of spin it a different direction, a little bit. So for those of you that aren't plugged into any DEI communities, I would suggest that you plug yourself into those communities if you choose to. And there's a lot of different communities. So myself and several other agents in the office are part of the Keller Williams Rainbow Network. And prior to going to the family reunion starting, we have a thing that we do called Rainbow Reunion, which is essentially a mastermind prior to family reunion. As we were going through the mastermind, we all kind of decide collectively as a group of what we want to talk about. One of the things that was brought up was, how do you show up as your authentic self in your business? Which I think is really important. Because we all know that people are going to do business with people they know, like, and trust. One of the things, and I honestly have to say, and I want you guys to really know this, that our office is a very special office in terms of the fact that you can show up being your authentic self without fear of any sort of repercussions. There were people at my table where I was hearing all these crazy stories about, there's a Bible on the front desk and people pray before each office meeting, and you go to your broker. Can you imagine going to broker Bob with a problem, and then he says we have to pray about it first before we come up with a solution? And there's a lot of LGBT members throughout the United States that are very uncomfortable with all of that. And so you're in a very special place where you can show up as your authentic self and don't have to worry about whether or not you will be accepted the minute you walk in the door. And so out of mine, it just gave me a greater appreciation for the fact that we work where we work. Because we work in a very we work in a great market center. There are days we're not perfect, but that's okay. Nobody's perfect in their personal lives, but that really comes down to our leadership. And I think that everybody needs to thank our leadership that we are in the position we're in. And I would encourage every one of you that has, if you fall into any sort of DEI group, I encourage you to be a part of it, whether it's the LGBTQ, the lady leaders, the Pan-Asian, whatever it is, dial into it, because I think that you'll be really excited to be a part of these groups. Chispa is another one. There's a couple people who are a part of multiple groups. So I think that dial into those groups.
I love that. So your action item, and I know it from you, I want to just have everybody else hear it, is, well, you use your words. What is your action item with your groups from Family Reunion, with your Rainbow Network?
Well, I mean, a big part of ours is not only encouraging people to be their authentic self, but yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it, because I've even myself struggled with that, showing up authentically. And I've had these conversations with Robert, and he's just like, you are who you are, show up as who you are. And it's just going to be you can't change who you are. People are either going to like you or not like you, that, and putting it, and then how to put on one hell of a party. That was the other thing I got out of it. So yeah, so working on those things.
That's awesome. And what I want, I'll double down on that for Chris, because when I first was interviewing to join Keller Williams, I didn't know I was interviewing, I was having a conversation. And the person said to me, and then, we're God Family Business, right? And I was like, yeah, that's great. Wait, what? In my head. And everyone responds to that differently. I think, being from the East Coast, I'm just going to tell y'all, everyone knows I'm transparent. I was like, wait, is this a cult or something? What are they talking about? And so I always use the words faith family business, because that makes sense in my wheelhouse, right? For some people, what I want to, don't hear this as buffering what Chris said, because it's absolutely not. It's making it palatable for everyone, because for some people, they feel comfort if BB was like, I want to pray with you on this, that would be comforting to them. For others, they're like, tell me what life path number I am, because that makes sense to me. For others, they're like, no matter what you're talking about in either of those conversations, I think you're a total weirdo. That's also okay, right? The fact of faith family business, and why I love Mo's Inspirational Morning, it's one of my favorite things. Just ask Jacqueline. I made her stay and go this year, is that she has literally every religion represented in our whole global company comes to the stage and prays in their native language prayer, right? And what that says to me is, it's not about any one God or religion thing. It's about the faith of humanity and everyone feeling seen in who they are, right? So if you feel like, well, I wish BB would pray with me instead of talking about where the moon is in my 7th house and if Jupiter's aligned with Mars, it's all good, right? And that is what Chris was saying. It is, I go in any leadership meeting I'm in, I say, I swear we have the most diverse and open market center in the country, and I'm ready to get us pageant sashes to wear that say it. Or maybe a Zara, either way. Okay, thank you for that, Chris. And Jacqueline dropped the communities button in there. Save it for later if you don't know where it is. Stay tuned in for now, please. I want everybody to hear the agent's perspective. Gaga, I asked you to come in after you shared with me yesterday and talk about the juxtaposition. I want you to give is, how did you feel when you got there? And yet, did you have a plan going in, and what were your results?
Well, I get distracted easy when I have a lot of options, and having 18,000 agents and just being able to talk just that many, I had to really focus on how I'm going to pull that off. and then having 200 workshops or breakthroughs, how you call them, and then I can do only so many. So for me, it was a challenge of focus and be purposeful. So that was my number one thing before I left. So I decided that I'm not going to hand out 250 business cards, that I want to do 20 people that I'm going to connect with, and let's say have 5 that I'm really going to bond with. So that was my idea for the first one. So I booked a table ahead of a time in restaurant at the top, like a rooftop in a hotel, Delano, where we were, and for only 6 people, including myself. So I invited 5 people. Unfortunately, it was Wednesday night, so 2 of them left on Tuesday, 1 of them left on Wednesday morning, but I still had 4 of us who went, and we had the best time ever. And we were there for like 4 hours, and we laughed and connected and bond. It was just really, really great. We had one person was like a brand new agent. I had 2 like really good agents who've been in the business longer than I am. And so I think that was a big one for me to kind of stay focused, and because I do get distracted. And then when I was doing the workshops, I also was planning on just doing, let's say, listings. So I tried to keep myself really to narrow the options down. So yeah, I have maybe 30 contacts that I have, and I'm definitely going to follow up individually. I know that it will take some time, but for some of them, I really have some things that we kind of had in common. So I'm not going to send generic 200 emails. I will try to kind of really make it more, make more relationship out of it. Even maybe create a group of 5 people that can be my accountability partners, and we can maybe meet 2 times a month and just brainstorm or keep each other accountable or something like that.
Did that seem feasible and possible when you walked into the first big room on day 1 and felt all the overwhelm?
I couldn't breathe, honestly. There's so many people there. I haven't seen that many people in my life ever but the stadium, I guess. And it was just like, how do I even know who am I going to talk to? But like, as you said, waiting in line is the best thing. Is it the restroom or food or coffee or just being at the booth where the vendors were or something like that? You start that conversation, and then when, you know, like sitting next to somebody, and it was just easy because everybody came there for the same reason. So there is no, oh, how I'm going to pull this off, because we know that we're there to create that connection and network, and it's just like, it's really flowy. I don't know, somehow it happened. I didn't have to really overthink it, you know, like.
Well, you're the somehow that it happened. You did the work. It was all you. I don't know if you asked anyone else for help, but I just heard this for the first time this week from you. And I didn't want to make it a big deal and say you were overwhelmed. And yet people will hear that and go, oh gosh, how did she do that? It's important to understand you were in full overwhelm and you did it anyway.
Yeah, I was really overwhelmed. First, when I looked at all the options, what I can hear, you listen, then you go, and I was like, oh my gosh, which one should I pick? And then should I talk to this person or that person? How am I going to keep it all together? And I have business cards, and I have command, and but then I really kind of narrowed it down, and I really was keeping myself focused, which is not easy for me to do because I do get distracted easy.
So like most real estate agents in the world. So how did you pick the people who you invited to go to dinner with you?
Well, those were people like that I really we talked longer than 10 minutes kind of ish. Then there was like one girl that she used to live in San Diego, and then she moved away, and she said, I have so many friends there and I would like to stay in touch. But she unfortunately left on Tuesday night, but she said, like, let's just do a Zoom call or something. And then we were at the concert, and I was with a group of people from Las Vegas, and I really bonded with one of the girls. And so it was like, I kind of felt that people that I could talk more than just, who are you? Here is my card. Here is my card.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked like those 5.
So is it fair to say you decided you had a listing appointment on Wednesday night for 6 people, and you went out and did the prospecting work to book the appointments and filled the slots, and then went and made business from that?
Yeah. Yeah, and I also had that one lady girl, she's from Las Vegas, and she was like, oh my gosh, look at this. I have a client buying with us. We just signed a contract there from San Diego. And look, it says here, do you think that somebody will buy in San Diego? So she was like, she has a listing here, right? And she sent them there my information, and she was like, you're my referral girl. I'm like, it was just like, I just met her, you know? And I talked to her yesterday because we were in touch. We saw each other 2 more times after that while we were in Las Vegas. And she said they decided to go with the agent who helped them buy the house. But she said, but don't worry, I have these all the time. Like, you are my girl there. And so, and she's really, we were together at the Miracle Mornings. We were sitting next to each other. We were crying together, hugging each other like we know each other for like, God knows how long. It was so sometimes you just bond with these people just like that, you know. And then I have people that I just have their card, and that's pretty much it. But I'm still going to stay in touch, of course, maybe in a different way though.
Yeah. So a Miracle Morning, she's saying, is Mo's inspirational morning. And I heard the follow-up in there, her action item, and I'll just double down on it for anybody who missed it. The meaningful relationships with the 30 people or so. How many of you have met people at Family Reunion, you're getting the smart plans back versus the meaningful phone call, right? And the realization of like, pick up the phone and have a conversation and build agent to agent rapport, that's going to be more beneficial. And so thanks for sharing. I wanted your perspective because you did have a plan and yet you were still overwhelmed and totally freaked out. And the most meaningful thing that can happen to you at Family Reunion doesn't have to be in a breakout or at the main stage, right? Like, it's your experience and it's your business. And that's what I want to make sure everyone really understands. Sam and Yanni, did you have a plan going in?
Well, originally we weren't even planning on going. So Alicia, actually, hold on, there's echo.
You just gotta mute the one in the room so we don't get feedback.
That's amazing, that sound. Oh, good, it stopped.
Okay, so yeah, Alicia is the one that told us to supporting us as usual. And I remember we got there and I didn't have a plan. We didn't even know what was I supposed to do. Like the breakouts that were available to us, I didn't know which ones to go to. And I got there, I was just overwhelmed with how many thousands of KW agents are there. And I was petrified to talk to anybody, even though they were from KW as well. So I think that as soon as we went to the Tony Robbins event, that really changed my mindset, because I went there not being able to talk to anyone, to getting out of there and talking to everybody that I see, handing cards, talking about random things, and then yeah, as Vinny, he was right there. And yeah, I started talking to other agents. That led me to Chispa, which I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, I kind of heard about it, but I don't know what it was. So I went to one of the breakouts and I was intrigued. So that led me to talk to more people within Chispa. And I joined. And since I came back, I've been talking to a lot of them and networking throughout the states, actually throughout the globe. And yeah, that was one of the things that oh, yeah. So Alicia wants me to say, I thought it was a secret. I applied to be a regional director of South California. Still looking forward to hearing them. I don't know what they're gonna say. Have a meeting with tomorrow. I'll keep you posted. And yeah, and then the thing is, I met a lot of people that have the same mindset that we do. And then they kind of help me choose what I'm gonna wanna focus on. For example, like in my case, I was always thinking of focusing on business owners, because we know business people, and focus on them in the Hispanic group and the Hispanic community. Also, I met a couple people that are from other military towns, and they're like, "Oh, you're from San Diego? Oh yeah, I have people going there all the time, and I have people coming from San Diego as well." So we exchanged cards. We started talking afterwards. So I think that's something good to have, because I wasn't even thinking about doing military. I mean, I helped VAs before, but nothing that I've been focusing on. And then, I mean, everything that happened changed my mentality. Everything that we went through, I feel that it changed the person that I was, or it had me choose other routes and be more specific, like if just find my niche. And then something that really helped that I never thought it would have, it was Mel Robbins, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. It's something that a couple of days ago I did it. I was under a little bit of frustration, and I did it, and it worked. And it's something amazing, something that I didn't really thought that it was going to work. I didn't even know that existed. So I mean, it was overall just something amazing, an amazing experience, and I'm definitely going back. Well, we are.
Oh, there's the weird sound thing again. Okay. I'm glad Alicia pushed you, because I was fully going to be like, you went from can I join Chispa to I'm applying to lead Chispa, and watching your evolution there, which so many of you had this who are like newer to the experience. It's that thing we always say, like, we can't explain to you what you'll get out of going to family reunion. We just know you will. And when you hear from everyone's different perspectives, I got to sit with Sam, I think the last night, maybe it was Tuesday night, for a few minutes on my way back. I met up with a few people downstairs in the hotel. The difference in you the day I saw you on opening day, like overwhelmed and where am I? And then sitting in the group of our agents who had all met up at the end of the night, and we're chit-chatting in the lobby, talking about, I have this idea, I have that idea, I want to go, I met this person, I met that person, I'm going to go lead this thing. You can't articulate that ahead of time or tell someone that that's going to happen to them. And yet what I watched was, at one end of the agent cluster that we were in, all recapping, Yanni was on one side and Sam, you were on the other side, and you were each growing and evolving through your own persons as a team with our agent community, sharing your takeaways. Like, you guys, that chokes me up. It was so good. So that is magic. I did not expect to get choked up on that, but like all of the little moments that you all have shared throughout this whole thing are so, it's not what you get, it's who you become, and you can't go back in time and explain that to someone that like, oh, this is what you'll experience and how you'll change. Nikki, you go. Give me a second.
Great. Mess me up and then make me go next. In 10 years, it was the most, God dang it, Sarah. It was the most enlightening, inspiring, enthusiastic game changer I've been to in any conference I've ever been to, and I've been to billions. I think a lot of that is our team. As we just crossed paths and hearing Sam speak about what an impact it meant for him, and love you guys, it meant a lot. I have 172 pages of notes from family reunion, which is insane. And I bought one thing on my way there, being the planner, but I still knew that I needed to capture everything, and I always run around with these little tiny notebooks. So I bought my little Remarkable, and I was like, didn't know how to use it. I'm freaking out on the plane, trying to figure out if I'm going to make notes. I'm so glad that I did, because I was able to capture so much. And then I have like a whole, I'm happy to share some of the highlights. I'll stick it on the page, just all these little tidbits and takeaways, like favorite phrases. Like, if you don't know how to build something, you'll wind up with a bunch of extra parts. Failure is on the path to learning. You can't do everything, so you have to do what matters most. I have probably 100 of those, and they're going to be on Post-it notes all over my wall, and I'll look at them every day. So our team is extraordinary. We have such an incredible group. And as I was saying, I jumped into another conference, not because I didn't respect family reunion or had nothing to do. Like those of you that were with me knew I was up really early, didn't stay out late, was working round the clock on this, but it was intentional because it was the builders conference. And so for commercial, it's a lot of manufacturing and industrial and business owners and companies that occupy large spaces. And I walked away with 3 leads and 2 actual transactions out of that. So that was like the first time I've ever done that. And I was just talking to the Uber driver. I'm like, hey, what else is going on? And they're like, hey, this is what's going on. And she goes, how many are you? And I said, 20,000. She goes, oh, there's 150,000 down there. I'm like, let's go there for an hour. It literally was a 90-minute jump, and I will take a look at that every time that I go. So yeah, I mean, I am not a rah-rah person, as you guys know, and I was jumping and high-fiving Sam and Yanni and Tony Robbins and dancing in the aisle. I don't even know who I was. It was like an out-of-body experience. Mel Robbins, friggin' awesome. That 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, as you guys know, I struggle with weight and diet all the time. Evie will laugh at this one. I ate fish. It doesn't sound like a big deal to y'all, but she knows. I've been trying to eat fish for 5 years. I'll buy it, I'll cook it, I'll look at it, throw it away. I'll buy it, I'll look at it, I'll throw it away. I actually bought it, cooked it, ate it, and didn't die. And at 5, 4, 3, won that. So the most important thing for me is to be there with all of you guys. And we keep this camaraderie and this tribe together. And I love you all. It was fantastic. And I hope to see you all and then some next year. And I have a whole list of what to do next year. If you guys want that too, I'll stick it in the notes.
Yeah, we're gonna need the Vegas reboot for sure. Thanks for jumping in and answering all the questions I didn't ask you live because you listened. And Christian, I saw you pop off Zoom, and I did not have you on my list as pre-asked, but I would love to highlight you if you're up for it. Are you up for it?
Sure.
Okay, so y'all, Christian, I saw him at our holiday party, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to family reunion. I bought that golden ticket thing. If I could find a way to not have to wait in lines for stuff, like this sounds awesome to me. I'm all in." And then fast forward 2 months to seeing you in the opening room celebration event space, and you had your big box. And Christian, tell us what happened when you got to family reunion.
Well, for the few people who actually got those golden tickets, there's golden platinums, and there were actually 30 golden tickets in across. There was probably 1,000 of us that had those like extra tickets, and 30 of us actually got to meet Tony and Mel after the big events with them. So it was honestly just an amazing experience. Even though Tony was not much chatting with him, just because whoever was there knew like he was just out of surgery in so much pain. He was like, pictures go, but what's the size? His size is amazing. Like, you're just like, now we understand why his message was so powerful. He moves in a way, and that was just amazing. And then chatting with Mel as well. We got about 45 seconds per person with her, and it's that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We were chatting about it with her, and she's even on stage, she's great, and as a solo, she's just as good. Honestly, she still gives out that energy of like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go do it now.
So the thing that he's not giving you the full background on is when you got when you purchased like the upgraded version of the package, which just meant you had reserved seating and all sorts of other stuff. They gave you this box and they said, open it up, see if you won. And it was like fully Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory style, that some boxes had a literal golden ticket inside it. And if you did that, then you got even extra, like a photo op and all this stuff that went with it. And for anybody who might not have known, I guess it was in the thread, Christian also was seated next to Diana Kokoska on the plane from San Diego to Austin. So, oh, perfect. Oh, great minds, Alicia. So he boarded the plane and happened to be sat next to Diana, however that came to be. Didn't even know who she was, right? Like, he's totally new to all of this. Come to find, for anyone who doesn't know, she was, one of the creators of all the coaching things, of Bold, of, all the magic that comes from KW coaching, in my humble opinion. And so to be able to sit next to her and have that conversation, we're all joking, like everybody rub Christian's sleeves and go, put your money on roulette or whatever you want to do, because the luck was flowing through it. And again, I mean, you sat and had a conversation with her on the plane, right?
Honestly, one of the most amazing conversations I had, especially not knowing who she was, I think, is what made it so nice. The conversation with her was just so simple. Like, she seemed calm. She never boasted about who she was, how she was this big shot. I had no clue who she was. And she was just giving me all these advice and recommendations and talk to this person, where then I have to also thank Ashley, who then dragged me to some of those people later on that day. But it was just an experience knowing, even before, like, coming into family reunion with I had a pretty solid plan, and having all these things, these wrenches thrown at me, like, you should also do this, and then you're just like, oh my God, I got so much more to do on top of what I had already planned. And that was just, discovering who she was after was actually much funnier, I think, than I think if I knew who she was, I probably would have been more intimidated about chatting with her in that way.
Right, you might have shown up differently. I want to be able to jump to you for any things total. For anybody else, there were 35 of us total from the market centers that were there, and I know like Manny and Lydia put together a couples breakfast at the place to network with other people around who are building their business that way. There's so many amazing things that happened from our own humans. And what I wanted to make sure everyone heard was, whether you knew what you were doing going in or didn't know what you were doing going in, everyone has taken out something totally different and grown. They probably didn't know was going to happen through an experience they had. And that's the beauty of going events, not about what we tell you or what stage or what breakout. Ashley, wrap us up and give us all your nuggets, please.
Well, too many nuggets to share. What I'll say is it was my 19th. And it was definitely in the top 3. And for those of you who felt overwhelmed, which I think was all of us, I think it's the biggest one we've ever had. So I just laughed. I stood in, lines getting up the escalator and just laughed and went, I would never wait this long for anything, but the content is so good. Yeah, just have a good time. The Mel Robbins probably was the most transformative experience, and I'd love to hear maybe next week or just privately from Yanni what she thought. It wasn't just the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It was seeing that woman be guided through that in real time and transformed within 10 minutes. That video is available in a lot of places on Facebook, guys. If you can take 10 minutes, literally, I would say at least watch that video. It was so cool. But yeah, like I don't have 190 pages of notes, but I have a notebook full. So once I'm able to hold thoughts for more than an hour at a time, I'll go back through my notes.
I have most of Mel's thing recorded. I'll drop the snippet that I have from that experience. It was wild. She's an agent from Corona, and to watch her get transformed through being moved out of her comfort zone again, changing her state, right? We learned so much about what's possible in changing your state. Anyone who hears something and has a question for someone who spoke about something that they experienced, please reach out to the person. We've all grown through helping each other and having conversations. And this 45 minutes is never going to be enough to dive into what someone learned and experienced over 5 days. And we'd have to do a week of family reunion recaps and evolution to get through it. And that's just not ever going to be on the calendar. So we're going to have to do those individually. We will go to State of the Company slides and other things coming up. We'll make sure we're sharing those pieces from Gary. We will continue to know that San Diego is different than the average bear based on Ashley's stats that she gives us monthly, and we see how that shows up for all of us. And most of all, y'all, just reach out, be open, dive into the community that resonates with you. Go to that link. What Chris said is absolutely true. What Sam and Yanni experienced with Chispa, all the different communities you can dial into, definitely do it. Find your people and build your networking group, whatever that means. You're never too new or too old to do that. Everyone has the opportunity, and everyone knows someone who's moving to or from San Diego. Okay, Evie just dropped in March 20th, Market Stats and Office Potluck, save the date. Next week is Broker Bob and Broker Update. The link to the Vision Square that Gary's teaching live from his office is in there. I know it's a lot. It all matters. I'm thankful for all of you. I'm sorry we're not in person, but you're welcome. We're not sneezing on you. Great afternoon. Bye, guys.